Hi, what's up? This is JJ. Today we're gonna see a doubles trick, but the double trick consists out of really basic movements, but when you see it as a whole, it's quite entertaining, it's quite cool. It might be the next step for you at a certain point if you're already into doubles. This trick is quietly or frequently used, I think especially at the tournament scene. When you go look at the tournaments online, this trick is sort of a beginner step. What we do actually, because this is a trick, so with our right hand, dominant hand, we're gonna do a higher basic aerial, a little bit higher, because with the other hand, you're gonna make two passes. You know, two passes, I think everyone calls them the Bruce Lee passes. It's a bit of basic, but you know, if you really like just that Bruce Lee style, you know, nothing wrong with that. But for a freestyler, that's quite of a basic movement, all right? No really tricky stuff, no really releases, aerials, just plain and safe movements. You know, warm up for most people. Okay, so that being said, in this trick there is a mental part that comes to play. Now the mental part of nunchaku in total, you know, it has a lot of aspects, and you know, I really like to address them, and I'm actually currently making a series on the Patreon of Flowtricks, so www.patreon.com/Flowtricks, about a series about how to become a world champion, and there I address one part on the mental side, the psychological side of doing nunchaku freestyle. You know, it's called How to Become a World Champion. What it actually says is how to become the best version of yourself. How do I make the best combos? How do I expand my trick set? Sometimes quite easily, sometimes with, you know, some special things you can actually try to address on all kind of tricks. I think it's quite interesting. It's up to you to see if you wanna join up there. Check that out. Here there's another mental side, because when we do that aerial and we do the passes while the nunchuck is up in the air, actually what you tend to do is when you do the aerial is to look to the aerial, and what you will see, unless you do it really high and you play on 100% safe, is that the aerial is going to drop quite fast. You know, you get that feeling, you throw it in the air, and before, you know, you're just watching, and then you realize, oh, I have to start to do another movement. And then the nunchuck comes quite quick from the air, and then you're like, oh. And what you tend to do, I think that's an instinctive reaction, is to try to catch the nunchuck that comes from the air logically. Otherwise, it drops, and your trick is not really like, you know, how you wanted it to have. All right? I'm gonna make an example, and for me, because I don't do this trick much, it's also an adaptation. I really have to think, like, all right, only focus on doing the pass. All right, so we start from a figure eight or from a double hand roll. I'm going to start just from figure eight. Throw it up in the air, catch it, and end the trick. All right, do it one other time. Like this. It wasn't really clean. You get the picture. So what it is, you of course have to look to the aerial, because you know, most of the time if you do this weeks and weeks or days in a row, which I now of course didn't do, you will see that even if you throw the aerial higher, so you get from your consistent zone from throwing up the aerial right in front of you, always at the same window with the same amount of rotation, being efficient, you know, muscle brain memory, very important. So here you're gonna go out of that zone, but when you train this trick for days, you will see that it also will land quite where you aim it to be after that amount of training in days, let's say. So here for me, that's different, so I still have to watch the chuck a little bit, but your focus should really be just on doing this. Because if you throw it in the air and you don't do this, well, you will be too late, you know. The other part which I want to address to you is actually how to facilitate your aerial. Or at least get him nice up in the air. So you come from here, you do the basic aerial. What you will do as well, you will see me do it already here, is you go to this spot, all right? Because you go here, the bicep tricep bounce, which feels so great, you're gonna facilitate the other chuck to actually be at the spot exactly where you want it to take like a cheat kickoff, all right? So let's imagine you would throw this one up in the air, all right? And then you would start off from here. You see, that's the trick. But then you're just a little bit too late already, because then you need more aerial space, you know, more height of your aerial to complete this trick. So, you know, what if we would start, look at this one, look at my dino hand. So what if we start from this position? And while you throw it in the air, this one goes up, this one comes along. So I'm gonna throw this one somewhere here. So look how this hand reacts to the chuck that goes in the bicep tricep position. Bam. See? So instead of like aerial it up, go like here, I'm already here to immediately make that first check. Okay? So that's important. So that's something you gotta train. So go to this position and try to, you know, try to make it a sort of a reflex that when you're gonna throw, this one is here. And then the next movement is this. That's so basic. I mean, true, right? You see? So you can try it first with one takeover and then take it with your other hand. You'll see you will have no problems there. The psychological effect will not come into play. Then come this one. And then you will see it starts. And now I'm both doing that exercise because, you know, I don't train this daily. And when I did, it was gone. You know, I had that thing, I had that mental advantage, but now I see I lost it a little bit. Both looking in the camera, both talking, giving instructions. I see I really have, I can struggle with this if I would have this, do this 100 times in a row. All right, you know, that being said, you know, watch it over and over. So there is this, you know, facilitate yourself with the left stick, mental side, watch at it, but keep your brain focused on doing the Bruce Lee passes. Okay, to get away from this one, and this is one that Stefan Oberle back 10 years ago, you know, showed us so well with his tutorials, is actually when it comes from the air, take it back here and strike one. Okay, so pass. Okay, he did also, you know, going, you know, he's famous for that, and you know, I'm not tending to copy that or tending to take over that kind of flourish movement because I think, you know, at a certain level you need to copy tricks, all right? If you see people doing tricks, and I'm probably going to talk a lot about that in the future as well. You know, don't try to steal sequences. You can try to pick up some flourish movements, try them on training, copy. We all had to do that, you know, and it's nice that you nail a trick that you see, for example, in a tutorial, for example, in a video from a highlight reel of a certain trick in the tournament, but then take it to the lab. Important. Take it to the lab. Take a piece of paper, take that trick, watch it over and over, and think, how can I make this my own? What can I even do to make that better? Which is also making it your own, all right? So please, if you would ever learn one thing from me besides being always consistent in what you train, it is also to, you know, talk to yourself, to that creative part you have, because everyone has that, because that's how you're going to make a difference. And in the end, and that's how you will be known, you know, a little bit of legacy for yourself. I know players, and they don't know I know it from them, that are like, you know, just playing now and then, this and that, but over the years, they have come to something on training this and that, where they, you know, got their own style in little bits of pieces, and I know, like, if I see that, I know, like, that's from him, that's him. Oh, you know, if they put them totally in a shade mode, you know, or wrapped in with a mask on, I would still say, that's him, while he's quite probably an unknown player to the general public, but, you know, I remember those things. So, you know, try to establish that for yourself. That's something I want to address as well. So this is a nice trick, aerial takeovers. You can do 3 takeovers, you can do 2 takeovers and catch it on the leg, you can do takeovers and catch it here, and spin along. There are a lot of possibilities, okay? You can also do this with a horizontal variant. So, you know, play with that, all right? If you nail this one, always go to the next step. All right, good luck with this one. Ciao, guys.